If you've been watching my channel for any length of time, then you know that I'm a fan of training to failure. But what exactly do we mean when we say train to failure? When shouldn't we train to failure? And what about training past failure? When we first start to exercise and train, there is so much for us to learn. We have to choose exercises, sets, and rep ranges. Then there's the rest times between these sets and exercises. So most of us end up just kind of arbitrarily choosing a workout plan, maybe from a magazine or off the internet, just to help get us started. And it usually will give us a list of exercises to do and some recommended sets and rep ranges, and even how many times a week we're supposed to train. After that, though, it usually gets kind of vague. Very rarely does it even ever mention rest times. And then, how do we know how much weight we are supposed to use? Now, they may talk about RPR, or rate of perceived exertion, or possibly percentage of your 1 rep max. Now, as a beginner, the last thing that we need to be doing is loading up the bar to try to figure out what our 1 rep max is. When we first start out, what is of primary concern is that we perform the exercise with good form, using a heavy enough weight that it challenges us and we can feel our muscles working throughout the exercise. Now, it may take us a few workouts to find that weight, and that's okay. It's all part of the process. Now, if you're in doubt as to what you should be using for a weight, always start on the light side, and each workout slowly add some weight until you find that right weight. Ultimately, what we are looking for is we want to hit technical failure on that last rep of that last set of each and every given exercise. Technical failure is when your form starts to break down. Each rep of any given set should look exactly the same, and once you start to break in form, that set is done. Now, I'm not referring to pace here. As the reps continue on, your pace may slow down, but as long as that movement pattern remains the same, keep going. Now, I've gotten questions regarding plyometric training and whether we should train to failure doing plyometrics. And I've always recommended that you don't train to failure because of the risk of injury. So how do we know when to stop a plyometric exercise? Well, that's when we have to kind of redefine failure a little bit. And I would redefine it to include pace. So once we fail at that pace and we're no longer able to maintain the pace of that plyometric exercise, then that set would be done. Training to failure creates a large amount of fatigue, which is why I recommend only doing it on the last set of each exercise. Now, heavy compound lifts like squats, deadlifts, and bench press not only create a lot of fatigue, but there's also an increased risk for injury. Now, when I train almost exclusively with dumbbells, and I usually train with a little lighter weight and higher reps, so it makes it easier for me to dump that weight if I can no longer perform the rep with good form. Now, if you are using heavy weights and a bar, then it's recommended that you always have a spotter available or you stop just 1 rep short for safety's sake. Isolation exercises and most bodyweight exercises you can train to failure and beyond quite safely and effectively. Curls are a great example of this. You can take them beyond failure by using rest pauses and drop sets. But it's important to remember, when you do that, do it at the very end of your workout, because once your arms are done, you're not going to be able to train any other exercises efficiently. It's time to go home and recover for that next workout. Both push-ups and pull-ups, you can train beyond failure by using rest pauses and negatives. So training to failure is a great way to help progress our workouts. By finding our limits and pushing those limits, we can keep working out while having fun. And this is Lawrence from Fit and 50, signing out. Talk to you again in that next video.